Hello, this is Mr. White. We are on Chapter 6, Lesson 3, Patterns of Inheritance. My Planet Diary. Cold with a chance of males. Is it a male or a female? If you're a red-eared slider turtle, the answer might depend on the temperature. These slider turtles live in the calm, fresh, warm waters of the southeastern United States. For these turtles, and some other reptiles, the temperature of their environment determines the sex of their offspring. At 26 degrees Celsius, the eggs of the red-eared slider turtles all hatch as males. But at 31 degrees Celsius, the eggs all hatch as females. Only at about 29 degrees Celsius is there a 50% chance of hatching turtles of either sex. How are most traits inherited? The traits that Mendel studied are controlled by genes with only two possible alleles. These alleles are either dominant or recessive. Pea flower color is either purple or white. Peas are either yellow or green. Can you imagine if all traits were like this? If people were either short or tall? If cats were either black or yellow? Studying two allele traits is a good place to begin learning about genetics. But take a look around at the variety of living things in your surroundings. As you might guess, most traits do not follow such a simple pattern of inheritance. Most traits are the result of complex patterns of inheritance. 4 complex patterns of inheritance are described in this lesson. Incomplete dominance. Some traits result from a pattern of inheritance known as incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance occurs when one allele is only partially dominant. For example, look at Figure 1. The flowers shown are called snapdragons. A cross between a plant with red flowers and one with white flowers produces pink offspring. Snapdragons with alleles R, produce a lot of red color in their flowers. It's no surprise that their flowers are red. A plant with 2 white alleles W, produces no red color. Its flowers are white. Both types of alleles are written as capital letters, because neither is totally dominant. If a plant has alleles R, W, only enough color is produced to make the flowers just a little red, so they look pink. Codominance. The chickens in Figure 1 show a different pattern of inheritance. Codominance occurs when both alleles for a gene are expressed equally. In the chickens shown, neither black feathers nor white feathers are dominant. All the offspring of a black hen and a white rooster have both black and white feathers. Here, FB stands for the alleles for black feathers. FW stands for the allele for white feathers. The letter F tells you the traits, its feathers. The superscripts B for black and W for white tell you the color. Multiple alleles. Some genes have multiple alleles, which means that 3 or more possible alleles determine the trait. Remember that an organism can only inherit 2 alleles for a gene, 1 from each parent. Even if there are 4, 5, or more possible alleles, an individual can only have 2. However, more genotypes can occur with multiple alleles than with just 2 alleles. For example, 4 alleles control the color of fur in some rabbits. Depending on which 2 alleles a rabbit inherits, its coat color can range from brownish gray to all white. Polygenetic inheritance. The traits that Mendel studied were each controlled by a single gene. Polygenetic inheritance occurs when one and more gene affects a trait. The alleles of the different genes work together to produce these traits. Polygenetic inheritance results in a broad range of phenotypes, like human height, or the time it takes for a plant to flower. Imagine a field of sunflowers that were all planted the same day. Some might start to flower after 45 days. Most will flower after around 60 days. The last one might flower after 75 days. The timing of flowering is a characteristic of polygenetic traits. How do genes and the environment interact? You were not born knowing how to skateboard. but maybe you can skateboard now. Many traits are learned or acquired. Unlike inherited traits, acquired traits are not carried by genes or passed to the offspring. Although inherited traits are determined by genes, they can also be affected by factors in the environment. The phenotypes you observe in an organism result both from genes and from interactions of the organism with its environment. Inherited and acquired traits. Humans are born with inherited traits, such as vocal cords and tongues that allow for speech. But humans are not born speaking Spanish or Mandarin or English. The language that a person speaks is an acquired trait. Do you have a callus on your finger from writing with your pencil? That is an acquired trait. Skills you learn and physical changes that occur, such as calluses and haircuts, are acquired traits. See if you can tell the inherited traits from the acquired traits in Figure 2. Genes and the environment. Think again about sunflowers. Genes control when the plants flower, but sunlight, temperature, soil nutrients, and water also affect the plant's flowering. Environmental factors can influence the way genes are expressed. Like sunflowers, you have factors in your environment that can affect how your genes are expressed. For example, you may have inherited the ability to play a musical instrument, but without an opportunity to learn, you may never develop the skill. Some environmental factors can change an organism's genes. For example, tobacco smoke and other pollutants can affect genes in a person's body cells in a way that may result in lung cancer and other cancers. Still, other genetic changes happen by chance. Changes in body cells cannot be passed to offspring. Only changes in the sex cells, eggs, and sperm can be passed to the offspring. Not all genetic changes have negative effects. Genetic change in sex cells is an important source of life's variety.